I grew up, over Christmas, when the Austrian league took an almost 2-month weather break, my hometown of Graz had an indoor 5-on-5 soccer tournament where all the big clubs of the region fielded teams, including Sturm and GAK, right after Christmas. The biggest indoor hall of the city was packed with thousands. The atmosphere was heated. People still smoked indoors with impunity then as well. And it would be on live TV, and it was a big deal. I missed that tournament. Way too high of an injury risk today, I suppose. But the impulse to do something special around this time of the year with football has remained. And so we have the third Advent/holiday/Christmas episode this year. It's a read of a children's book again. And that book involves a time-traveling boy and a dog. And they time travel through goalposts to the first organized football match under Football Association rules in 1863 between Barnes and Richmond. The game was played at Barnes Commons in West London across the river from Fulham FC's stadium, the Craven Cottage. And the boy and his dog, Kane is his name, no relation to Harry, they mess up football history while there, or almost. The full title is Kane and the Christmas Football Adventure, Christmas football storybook for boys and girls aged 7 to 10. And the book is by Adrian Lobley, who has not paid me for advertisement or anything. And I also won't read the whole book out here, but up to chapter 10 and then end on the cliffhanger. The book is available online, hard copy and ebook, and you can see how it ends if you're curious for yourselves. There are not a lot of good children's football books that aren't just picture books or training books, especially not Christmas-related ones. And between each break that I'm reading, you'll hear some of the best Christmas-related stadium chants I could find from England, like the "You should have gone Christmas shopping" you heard there at the beginning already. That was from Leeds United supporters, a creative bunch. Thank you for supporting the assistant professor of football this year. This is still an ad-free, subscription-free space. I have at times thought about changing that. But what I enjoy the most about doing this are the connections between me and the guests and you. So please subscribe, click link, or spread the word as a little Christmas gift to this podcast. On the internet, spread the word on socials, but most of all, in person. Let a friend know that this niche exists if you like what we're after here at the Assistant Professor of Football. And if you don't like it, pass it on to someone you don't like. There. I hope you get a break around the holidays, whichever or none you choose to celebrate. I'll take one episode off, and we'll be skiing in early January, and we'll hear each other again on January 19th. Kane the dog pushed open the door of his master's bedroom with his nose. He could see Adam asleep in bed. Kane had just been looking out of the window in the lounge and had seen a most extraordinary sight. He was so excited he jumped up onto the bed on top of Adam and started licking his face. Adam woke with a start. "Kane, stop licking my face. What is it, boy?" Kane jumped down to the floor and bounded over to Adam's window and barked at the curtains, which were closed. "What is it? What's outside?" Adam looked at his clock, which read 9:30, December 17. "Brilliant," Adam exclaimed. "Only 8 days until Christmas." He threw his duvet off and climbed out of bed. Walking over to the curtains, he pulled them back, not quite sure of what he was about to see. As the curtains drew back, instead of the usual green gardens outside his bedroom window, he was greeted by the most amazing scene. The whole village was covered in 6 inches of white snow. Other than the postman's footprints, the sheet of white had been totally undisturbed. Kane barked in excitement. "Wow, look at all that snow." Adam grabbed his clothes from the wardrobe and started putting them on. "Come on, let's have breakfast and then go and play. We can try football in the snow." Adam looked at the posters of his favorite Premier League team, Newcastle United, which covered his walls. He grinned. The house was covered in Christmas decorations, and as Adam ducked under the paper chains he had made with his mum, which stretched from one side of the landing ceiling to the other, he breathed in the familiar smell of toast and bacon wafting up from the kitchen. "Cool, bacon sandwiches." He ran down the stairs with Kane in hot pursuit and skidded into the kitchen. His mum and dad were already eating. "Adam, your bacon and toasts are in the oven, keeping warm." "Thanks, Mum." Adam brought his bacon sandwich and sat at the table. "Hey, Dad, we're top of the Premier League after the matches last night." "Don't worry, Newcastle won 4-1 and are still up top." his dad said, as he turned over the page in his newspaper. Yes, get in. Adam pumped his fist. I put your Wellington boots near the fire to warm them up, said Adam's mom. I knew you'd want to go out. Great, thanks. After eating his bacon sandwich, Adam sat in front of their crackling log fire and put on his willies. The snow had started falling again, and Adam and Kane soon ran past some younger children who were already outside, giggling with delight as they threw snowballs at each other. Adam took his rucksack and checked if his football was in it too. This is great, Kane. It's the school holidays, plus we've got snow as well. For the next hour in the park, Adam built his own little igloo with Kane leaping about. I don't know how to build a roof on my igloo, Kane. Keeps falling in, sighed Adam after the third failed attempt. But at least I've made walls and an entrance. Let's sit inside and read some of my football book. I can read some to you. Kane wagged his tail and entered the igloo. It was very cozy. Nobody outside could see either of them. You'll never believe how football used to be played in the olden days, Kane. Adam sat on the snow floor and opened his book. It says here that the first official football match was in 1863. Wow, that's ages ago. It took place here in England, but there were no rules set about how long a match should last or how many people were on each team. Kane cocked his head to the side, showing his surprise. Kane was a particularly clever dog and had been trained to understand a lot of what people say. Hey, there were no crossbars back then, just posts. How cool is that? You could just score every time. You just booted really high. Adam laughed. Would it be brilliant if we could get to see the first ever football match? He read some more. Plus, the first ever match was 15-a-side. No wonder it ended 0-0 then. As soon as one of the players got the ball, they'd just be tackled. Adam turned the page as he sat happily in his own little snow home. The first ever match was Barnes versus Richmond. He paused. I've never heard of either of them as football clubs. Adam thought some more. I heard of all the places called Barnes and also Richmond. They're at the other side of London. He frowned as he read on. Here it says that Richmond focused on rugby, not football, and Barnes played football for a number of years, but ended up concentrating on rugby too. That explains why I have not seen their names in the Premier League, I guess. Adam could feel his pants getting damp as he sat on the packed snow inside the igloo. I'm hungry, Kane. Let's find somewhere to sit and we can have our food. The bear went outside again and found a bench at the edge of the field, and Adam gave Kane his dog treats. In front of them, a couple of families were building snow barricades and then started making snowballs and stockpiling them behind their barricades. These guys are spending a lot of time preparing for their snowball fight, Kane, said an impressed Adam. I wonder if they'll let us join in, and I can make an offer to make snowballs too. Kane woofed. I think it might go and ask them. Before long, Adam was on his knees, crouched behind one of his barriers with one of the families, launching snowballs at the other family. Kane was having a great time running around, trying to catch the snowballs in his mouth, although without much success. One or two other children that Adam knew from the neighborhood came over and asked if they could join. The families welcomed them, and the snowball fight went on for another 2 hours. Eventually, everyone was exhausted, and they announced that they were going home. Adam thanked them for letting him play. The other children headed home too. Come on, Kane, let's go for a game of football. We'll head over to that sheltered area where the trees are. There's some grass there, so you can dribble the ball with your nose, and I with my foot. Adam and Kane ran as fast as they could towards the other side of the park. Hey, Kane, look! Adam pointed as they approached the goal. There is no crossbar on that goal, just 2 posts. Adam stopped running and walked toward the posts. He laughed. Just like the first official football match between Barnes and Richmond in 1863. I could have sworn there was a crossbar when I looked over earlier, though. He shrugged. Oh, well, I must have been mistaken. Adam hadn't been mistaken, though. Something strange was happening, and little did Adam know, any second now, he and his magical dog were going to embark on one of the most exciting adventures of their lives. Adam stood between the two goalposts, which were in front of a hedge and trees, the branches of which hung over the area in front of him. He kicked his football, and Kane chased after it. It landed in the snow, but Kane managed to nuzzle the ball back onto the grassy area, and then dribbled it with his nose back in Adam's direction. As Kane weaved his way towards Adam, he suddenly left the ball where it was and ran towards his master. "Kane, what are you doing? You've left the ball behind." Kane began barking as he approached Adam, who held out his arms for Kane to jump into for a hug. But Kane didn't jump. In fact, he ran straight past Adam and between the posts behind him. Adam, a bit surprised, turned around, but he couldn't see Kane. Not anymore. Something incredible had happened. "Huh, where's he gone?" Adam looked all around, but Kane wasn't anywhere to be seen. He must have run through the thick hedge somehow, thought Adam. Just then, Adam looked down on the ground at what looked like a thick line of snow stretching from one goalpost to the other goalpost, on top of the grass. All of a sudden, the line of snow started to fade. What on earth? Adam realized it wasn't snow. It was a painted line. One that definitely hadn't been there when they had arrived. It was vanishing very quickly now. "Kane?" Adam stuttered as he realized what had just happened. Kane hadn't gone through the hedge. He had vanished when he crossed the white line. Adam had seen this happen before. A few months ago, Kane and Adam had traveled back through time to the year 1966 by stepping over a white painted line in a mysterious goal they had come across. They only had the time that the painted white line stayed in place to cross over it and travel in time, though. Once the line had vanished, it just returned to being a normal goal. Adam suddenly came to his senses. He realized that Kane was no longer here and that when his canine friend had crossed over the white painted line, he had traveled through a different time period. Adam knew he had to either jump over the line right now and follow Kane and travel through time too, or stay in the present and possibly lose his dog forever. The line had almost vanished. "Kane!" Adam shouted. He didn't have time to grab his football. Adam just scooped up his backpack and leapt forward into the goal. But had he left it too late? Had the line already vanished, leaving Adam in the present and Kane stranded forever in another time? Adam's feet landed on the ground and squelched in a mud puddle. The hedge and trees that were in front of him had suddenly disappeared. "You're there!" exclaimed Adam as he saw Kane in front of him. Kane leapt back into his arms. "Thank goodness, I thought I'd lost you." He gave his dog a huge hug. "The trees have gone, and so has all the snow," Adam said as he looked all around. "We must have traveled through time again." His heart was racing. "Where are we, though? This looks nothing like the big park we're in." Adam turned to look at the two goalposts they had passed through. There was no crossbar still, and the white painted line vanished before his eyes. "How did you do that?" said a young urchin boy who was walking up to them. "You and your dog appeared from nowhere." The urchin, who was covered in dirt and grime and wore tatty old clothes, studied Adam before continuing. "Look at them clothes you're wearing, too. You must be posh. Are you rich? I've never seen clothes like them before." "You ask a lot of questions," replied Adam. "Where are your shoes?" Adam was looking down at the boy's muddy feet. "I don't have none." "But it's December. It's freezing." "Don't make no difference. We're too poor to have shoes." Adam raised his eyebrows in surprise before gathering his thoughts. What year is this?" he asked the urchin. "Why, it's 1863. It's been 1863 all year. It's 17th December. Only 8 days to Christmas Day." Even though Adam knew they had traveled back in time, it was still a shock to hear how far back they had gone. Last time they had traveled to 1966, which seemed so long in the past, but this was now over 100 years further back, in 1863. "Here, you want to be careful with him." The boy was pointing at Kane. "Dog snatchers hang about here. You've got a shiny dog. They'll make a lot of money if they steal him and sell him." "I'm sure we'll be fine," Adam replied. He needed more information about where they were, most urgently. "This park's near Buckingham Palace, right? Adam asked. Buckingham Palace, where Queen Victoria lives? Nah, it's a long walk from there, exclaimed the urchin boy. He frowned at Adam. So you don't know what year it is, and you don't even know where you are? So where are we? Adam said, ignoring the boy's comment. Barnes, of course. This is Limes Field. Adam raised his eyebrows in surprise at those news. He looked at Kane and whispered, We've not just moved back in time, we've also moved places, Kane. His dog barked. Just then the wind blew in a different direction, and Adam recoiled at the smell of the boy. Wow, you need a bath, you stink, said Adam before he realized how rude his words had sounded. I had me bath 5 days ago, exclaimed the boy. I don't have to have another one for a bit. I hate bath time. Ma scrubs too hard. Suddenly from behind the boys, a man started shouting at them. You boys, get off the football pitch. It's Ebenezer Morley, said the urchin. Come on, run. Who is Ebenezer Morley? Shouted Adam as they ran fast as they could, off the pitch. He's the one organizing this first football match now in 2 days. It's Barnes versus Richmond on Saturday. The boy panted as he ran. Kane ran on ahead as he didn't like being shouted at. Eventually the boys came to a stop at the edge of Limes Field. They had got away. From Ebenezer Morley. Seeing as I'm here in 1863, I'd love to see that match on Saturday, Adam said to his new friend. Well, we could watch it together, said the boy. My name's Joseph. Definitely. I'm Adam and this is Kane. Adam looked behind him to see where Kane was. He wasn't there. Again. In fact, he was nowhere to be seen. In the distance, he heard some frightened barking. That's Kane barking. I recognize it. He only barks like that when he's in trouble. Something's wrong. Adam couldn't see him. He must be behind that thick row of trees. Adam started running in the direction of the barking. As he rounded the trees, he saw to his horror 2 men bundling Kane into the back of a cart. Kane was wiggling to try and escape from the men, but they were too strong. Kane! Shouted Adam in horror as he watched Kane being shoved inside a small wooden cage, which was on the back of the cart. Go, go, go! Shouted the huge man on the back of his cart. His smaller companion grabbed the reins of the horses as the cart set off at a furious pace in the opposition direction to Adam. Kane, they've got Kane, someone help! But there were no adults around to hear Adam's cries. Adam ran as fast as he could after the cart, but they had a head start, and the horse that pulled that cart was too quick. Eventually the cart went round a corner and out of sight. The dog snatchers had captured Kane. Kane, Adam said helplessly. He came to a stop, completely out of breath. They've kidnapped my dog. His heart sank. The men had gone. His beloved canine had been kidnapped, and there was nothing he could do about it. The boys continued their search for Kane for hours and hours, without finding him. As they walked along one of the cobbled streets not far from Limes Field, they passed a large group of men. Where are all those men going? Said Joseph to Adam. They're all wearing shorts. Of course, it's the first official football match today between Barnes and Richmond, exclaimed Adam. We must be starting soon then, said Joseph. Let's follow them and watch the match for a bit. The boys returned to Limes Field and watched the men getting ready to play. Ebenezer Cobb Morley was standing very nearby talking to his Barnes players. The rules set out by the new English Football Association state that you are allowed to catch the ball but not carry it, said Morley, who had led the formation of the English Football Association, the FA, 2 months before. Morley continued to read to his players from the Football Association Minute Book, which explained the 13 laws of football. Adam overheard some of these rules and was a little surprised. The football players can catch the ball? He whispered to Joseph. Yes, of course, any player can. They can't run with it or throw it, though. Wow, where I come from, only the goalkeeper can catch the ball. What's a goalkeeper? Said Joseph. It's a person who stays near the goal all the time. I can't believe I'm getting to see the first official football match in history. It's going to look very different. After a few minutes, the game started. This is funny, said Adam after the match had been underway for a while. All 30 players just run after the person who's dribbling the ball. They all just dribble as well, rather than passing. They should pass more. Well, I think you can only pass backwards, apparently. I overheard Ebenezer Morley saying that. That might be why they dribble, so they can go forward. Joseph was quite pleased with the bit of information he had managed to gather. While the boys were watching the football match, Kane, the dog, was walking through the streets of Barnes alone. He was so relieved to have escaped from the horrible men, but now he was getting cold and lost. He walked and walked for miles, but didn't recognize any of the streets and couldn't find a football field. He had no way of knowing where he was, or where Adam was. Having not eaten or had any drink for 2 days, he was feeling very weak as well. After a long time of trotting through the streets, he passed 3 young children, one of whom was kicking a misshapen brown football. Kane stopped and looked at the ball as they passed. The boys were talking quickly. "Let's go and play a football match," said one of them. Kane's ears pricked up when he heard the words football match. He couldn't understand what else they said, but he had heard Adam say football match many times. Kane suddenly got a huge boost. They must be talking about the first ever football match that Adam had shown him sketches of in his football book, he thought. Kane stopped walking and turned his head round to watch the boys. After the boys had walked on a little farther, Kane changed direction and followed them. He made sure he was a long way behind so they wouldn't notice him. Through the cobbled back streets, they weaved in between buildings. Kane continued to keep up with the boys at a distance. After 10 minutes, one of the boys kicked the ball high into the air, and the trio sprinted after it onto the edge of a park. Kane's whole body slumped. He realized that it was their football match, not the football match that Kane needed to be at. He trudged after the boys anyway. The park was huge, and Kane watched the boys play football for a little bit. He didn't have the enthusiasm to join in, though. All his energy had gone searching for Adam, and he just slumped down at the edge of the park. Then a noise caught his attention. He could hear someone shouting from the opposite side of the park. He strained his eyes to see what the commotion was. There appeared to be a lot of men playing football in the distance. Suddenly, all of the cold loneliness and worry vanished for a brief moment. Kane's ears pricked up, and so did his tail. Could that be the match that Adam talked to him about, he thought? Could his master be there? He started running towards the match using his last reserves of energy, his 4 legs moving him as fast as they could. As he neared, he looked at the spectators, desperate for one of them to be Adam. He was getting closer and then spotted 2 boys watching and chatting, and one of them was Adam. Kane barked and barked as he ran faster than he ever had before. That sounds like Kane. Adam turned to see his beloved dog charging toward him. It is Kane! And Kane reached his master and leapt into his arms. You found us! Adam looked at his dog, who was covered in mud, but was happy to see him. For the next few minutes, the boys made such a fuss of Kane. They could all watch the match together now. Kane stood right next to his master. Adam looked down at him and could have sworn that his magical dog had a little smile on his face. Not a great surprise that the score is 0-0, is it, Kane? Adam winked at Kane. He knew from reading his book that the match would finish goalless in a few minutes' time. Joseph, of course, didn't know what the result would be. Pa says that Ebenezer Morley really wants his Barnes football team to be a success, said Joseph, as he watched Morley running after the ball. If they win today, he thinks he'll give him a great chance of making it as a football club, rather than just being a rugby club. Adam remembered what he had read in his book. Barnes drew 0-0 with Richmond, and both end up as rugby clubs. He decided not to say anything to Joseph. It's a shame we can't go onto the pitch and play, said Adam, turning to Joseph. Just to say that we played in the first official match, you know. Kane's ears pricked up. He was sure that his master had just said they could go on and play. All of a sudden, Kane darted away from his master and ran onto the pitch. He started chasing after the ball, just as all the men were doing. Adam didn't notice until he had turned back around. Hey, no! He shouted. Kane couldn't hear him, though, due to the shouting of all the other spectators and players. Kane was quicker than the men. The player, who had the ball at the time, kicked it out in front of him and chased after it, but Kane had already got to it. Kane dribbled it with his nose and headed towards the goal. The ground was very uneven, though, and the ball hit a divot in the ground. It bounced away from Kane and ended up at the feet of a player who wasn't expecting it. The player stopped the ball, looked at the goal in front of him, and then toe punted it past an opponent, who was now standing near the goal. It hit one of the posts, and from there, went in. The goal scorer turned, but didn't celebrate widely. He just shook hands with a couple of his teammates. "That doesn't count," shouted one of the opposition. He pointed at Kane. "That dog got involved. Your player wouldn't have got the ball if it wasn't for the dog." "Nonsense," shouted the goal scorer. "It's a goal." A huge argument erupted between the players. By this time, Adam had run onto the pitch to try to pull Kane away from the trouble. He was worried for Kane's safety. As Adam reached Kane, though, he noticed something. "Kane, look at the goal." Adam had knelt beside his dog and pointed at the two goalposts. There was a painted white line reflecting brightly in the afternoon sun, on the ground, between the posts. Adam and Kane immediately ignored the arguments going on behind them. They looked at one another. Adam then turned around to Joseph and waved at him. There was no time to say goodbye. The white painted line was starting to fade. Adam and Kane were 10 meters away from it. "This is our chance, Kane. The time portal is open. If we run into the goal, we might return back home." Adam didn't hesitate. He sprinted the 10 meters as fast as he could. Kane was in hot pursuit, a couple of meters behind. The footballers' shouts faded behind them, and at the instant that Adam crossed the white painted line, everything went quiet. Adam and Kane came skidding out between the goalposts. A huge snow-covered field stretched out before them. "My goodness, we're back, Kane." Kane barked and wagged his tail. Adam looked behind him at the goal. The white painting line was fading away. There was now no 1863 football match, no players, no muddy field. They had returned to the present day. "What a relief," said Adam, blowing air from his cheeks. "We're home." "Joseph will have wondered where we vanished to," Adam reflected, the smile disappearing as he thought about his friend. "I wish we could have said goodbye to him." He looked all around. "Hey, there's my football. I didn't have time to get it when we traveled back in time. No one's taken it." An elderly couple were walking towards them on the snow-covered path nearby. "Hi there," said Adam to the couple. "Excuse me, I just wondered, what's the date today?" "It's December 17th, the husband answered. "Only 8 days to Christmas, young man." "Thank you," Adam smiled. "Merry Christmas." "Merry Christmas to you too," the wife replied as the old couple continued on their walk. Adam frowned as he tried to work out what had happened. He crouched down next to Kane and stroked him. "This is odd, Kane. It was Thursday, 17th December at the start of this adventure when you came bounding onto my bed and woke me up because I remember seeing it on my clock. Then we traveled back in time to 1863 and spent 2 days there." Kane cocked his head to the side as he listened intently. "Yet we've arrived back in our time on the 17th, which is the same day we left." Adam scratched his chin. "It's just as though no time had passed at all there." He looked his football and then to the ground. "There are no other footprints around either. No one's taken my football. I think we might have returned to our time just a few moments after we left it. Come on, boy, let's get back home. I'm starving. We need to get you some food and water as well. Time might not have gone by here, but you and I have lived an extra couple of days, and I haven't had much to eat." Kane barked in agreement as Adam scooped his football up. He felt on his back for his rucksack to put his ball into, but there was nothing on his back. "Oh no, I've left my rucksack." Adam thought back to where he last had it. "When I ran out to the pitch to get you, Kane, I left it with Joseph. It's back in 1863. Adam groaned. "It had my favorite football book." "Well, At least we got back home safely. That's the main thing. Kane barked in agreement. I'm so annoyed I lost my book, though. I loved that book. After a walk where Adam threw a few snowballs back at some younger kids who wanted to play, the pair rounded the corner of their cul-de-sac to see their home in front of them. After filling their stomachs, Adam and Kane went into the lounge and Adam threw some more logs on the fire. He and Kane sat in front of it, feeling the warmth from the orange flames before them. Your football team did well last night, I see, said his dad, walking into the lounge. Barnes is 10 points clear at the top of the Premier League now. What do you mean, Barnes, my football team? Said Adam, very puzzled. There's no such Premier League team as Barnes. Adam looked at his dad as though he was mad. Of course there is, his dad laughed. You've supported them for years. He showed the newspaper to Adam. Here you go. I don't support Barnes. You know perfectly well that I support Newcastle, Dad. Adam took the newspaper and looked at the league table. Sure enough, it showed a team called Barnes FC at the top of the Premier League. They were positioned one place above Newcastle. I don't understand it. Adam looked at his dad, very confused. Barnes weren't in the Premier League. I didn't think they existed. Why would you say I supported them? You supported them ever since you were little, replied Adam's father with a chuckle. The day I told you that Barnes had played Richmond in the first official match in history and that a dog had helped score the winning goal, you decided to support them. You liked them even more when you found out that they went on the longest winning streak in history after that first match with the dog. Barnes didn't win the first match, though. It was 0-0 against Richmond, said Adam. No, it was 1-0. Look at this. There's an article in the newspaper here. Adam took the paper and started reading the article. Sure enough, it explained the score of the very first match in history was Barnes 1, Richmond 0. Adam looked at Kane. Something's wrong, Kane, he whispered. He was still annoyed that his dad thought he supported Barnes FC, which was a team that he was sure didn't exist. What was going on? Adam suddenly had a thought on how to prove who he supported. My room is covered in Newcastle posters. They'll prove who I support, and it certainly isn't Barnes, Adam said to his dad. Before his dad could reply, Adam darted out of the room into the hall. He skipped up the stairs with the newspaper in hand, past a small Christmas tree with twinkling lights on the landing, and opened the door to his room. He stood and stared at the walls. His eyes got wider. What on earth? Adam exclaimed. These posters all say Barnes on them. Where are all my Newcastle posters? He slumped down onto the side of his bed. What's happened, Kane? Adam said. He stayed very still as he thought it all through as his canine friend bounded into the room after him. Wait a minute. He clicked his fingers as he realized something. Dad said that Barnes FC won the very first match 1-0 and that a dog went onto the pitch and set up the winning goal. Adam looked at the newspaper article again and started reading it. It says here that the dog was a black Labrador. Adam stopped talking and looked down at his dog. His eyes widened. Kane was a black Labrador. Kane, this dog they're writing about in that newspaper, could it be you? Adam blew out a deep breath. My goodness, Kane, the score in 1863 should have been 0-0, but because you ran onto the pitch and passed the ball to that man when we were in 1863, he scored that goal, which he wouldn't have done without you passing it to him. So you helped change the score from 0-0 to 1-0. Kane whined. This meant Barnes went on to win, and that inspired him to keep winning and keep going with the football. Adam continued reading the newspaper article aloud to Kane. Due to their incredible success at football, it said, Barnes stayed as a football club, didn't play rugby anymore, and became the most successful club in history. Can you believe it, Kane? One little action you did in 1863 caused the whole of football history to change. Adam shook his head. This is incredible. And then he pondered the situation. It's not right, though. For a start, Newcastle aren't top. I don't see how we can change it, though. Well, except traveling back in time to 1863 again. At that point, Adam put his hand in his coat pocket. He felt something cold and solid. "What's this?" he said as he pulled a metal object from his jacket pocket. "A key." He suddenly realized where the key was from. "Oh no," he gasped. "This is Joseph's key. It's the only key his family have got, and Joseph gave it to me to look after. Joseph and his family won't be able to get into their house. They will end up out in the cold, sleeping in the street." Adam looked at Kane, who had a worried expression on his face. Adam knew they had to sort all this mess out. There was only one option. "We have to travel back to 1863, Kane,"